Alright, plan for today is a simple plan, or simple enough plan, rather. It's to read one, two, maybe. Oh, hey, look at that, new art. I saw this one on the Reddit, I think, at some point. Oh, I guess it is a new month, and I I clicked the thank you. Today's plan is a simple plan. We're gonna read like one, two entries, and then I'm gonna stop reading them and the video and probably go cry or something. I don't know. When does posting close? In 2 days? Well, just about one day, really, counting the. Let's see, what the hell is new for over here? Wow, quite a number. Since I started recording these, right, it was. Wood of Worlds was the most recent one. I think we have like 100 entries now. Christ's sakes. Anyway, plan after this probably go cry or something. So before we get into the reading of the entries, I had a question. I woke up today to a pretty cool comment on a community post. I woke up at 1 in the morning and then I responded and when it like 7 when I was actually like awake or something. I don't know. Point is, I feel so pretentious doing this. I hate it, whatever. I started, don't stop now. Someone asked if I had a Ko-Fi or like any way that they can financially support me or like drop me a tip or something. Uh, I don't because I figured like, hey, this is just a hobby stuff, right? It's not gonna get picked up any traction. On top of that, you put next to no effort in these things. So it's not like anyone's gonna want to give you money. And then somebody wanted to give me money. So now I'm kind of sitting here like, fuck, what do I do about that? Do I let people give me money? Because I'd feel really bad doing that because I'm just reading articles, right? I don't feel like the effort put in warrants any sort of like incentive or anything to that effect. There was a pipe dream at some point to like do a bunch of I don't know uh the TTRPG stuff or like I don't know like make a Patreon and like put a bunch of writing stuff or something. I don't know. Would anyone even at all, instead of the guy who offered, be interested? Because I'd feel really fucking bad if I opened up a Ko-Fi in Wisconsin like, hey guys, go check out, go give me money. Like I'd feel like a dick. So I just wanted a rule of thumb from you lot. Anyway, we're gonna read Panspermia by Arkland. A careless gardener sows an eager crop. Can't wait to cry later. Stars, comets, planets. So is this Ad Astra Per Aspera stuff? I don't think so, but who knows? That's something to that effect. Few remember why we turned our eyes from the sky, when we accepted being alone in the vast universe as the only truth. When the allure of the stars became nothing but empty ash and swirling rust, when we returned to holding wilds of this world as the only frontier remaining. Perhaps if our eyes had not been forced lower, they would have been lost to us instead. Not that it matters now, the hands have slipped, the stars are fracturing, our sisters await beyond the skies. By order of the Overseer Council, the following file is level 5/9000 classified. Unauthorized access is forbidden. Then here's some glitchy text stating SCP-9000 was a mistake. Our corrections are failing. Time remaining 1 hour 25 minutes. Alright, let's get into it. Item number SCP-9000, level 5, top secret. Containment class, Keter. Secondary class, uncontained. Well, wouldn't that be an Apollyon? Disruption class, Amida. Risk class, danger. Special containment protocols. Oh, okay, so this is like a different timeline. You can tell given the name protocols, and also up here at the top it says stars, comets, and planets instead of secure, contain, protect, or whatever the hell. Uh, Special containment protocols. 9K is uncontainable by all currently available means. Description: SCP-9000 denotes the entirety of the Sol stellar system. That's weird. Is that a proper term? I wouldn't know. Excluding the Sun and the Earth, following the effects of the Cascade event. Timeline of the Cascade event, and what we have there is one of the Dipper constellations. I don't know which one is which. Anyway, date June 21st, 2030. I'm already dead. June 26, 2030. Begin log. At 12:01 a.m. UST, an Eigen weapon of wait, why is there footnote 2? Where's footnote 1? Oh, in the procedures. How did I not notice that? Oh, whatever. See addendum 9000.003. Projects fallen for further information. Anyway, 12:01 a.m. UST. An Eigen weapon of unknown destructive potential is detected leaving Earth's atmosphere, aimed directly at the Sun by the Foundation Atrius Array. Eigen weapon is designated as originally categorized as a super weapon or wonder weapon. They are defined as a weapon that is either anomalous origin or incorporates occult/paratechnology for mass destruction. They are effectively a fourth category of WMD. The Foundation Atrius Array is the global orbital surveillance system. Anyway, the O5 Council and the Global Occult Coalition are informed of the event. 12:02 a.m. Interceptors are launched in an attempt to disable the weapon's propulsion systems. Foundation AICs and personnel began tracking the weapon's launch origin and current vector. 12:05 a.m. The weapon evades interceptors utilizing Thaumic-based teleportation capabilities and vanishes from Earthbound Foundation sensors. Lunar Area 32 is the last with eyes on it and maps the trajectory of the jump. Lunar Area 32 is the locus for extraterrestrial Foundation operations and a containment facility for a number of extrasolar anomalies. 12:06 a.m. A launch origin is located. Mobile Task Force Xi-13, or Siquerenos, something to that effect, is dispatched to apprehend any individuals remaining on site and confiscate all adjacent materials. 12:10 a.m. Mercury 05 sights the egg weapon within the edge of the Sun's corona. Mercury 05 is the latest observation probe investigating for signs of anomalous activity regarding Sol and Mercury. SCP-179 remains inactive during this period. Nevertheless, orders are given regarding further intervention. 179 is this anomalous humanoid out in space that gives us warnings of threats from beyond the stars. Something to that effect. If I remember correctly, tattoos. Let's see here. Observed to look towards other areas on occasion, keeping its ventral side oriented to Earth predominantly. Medic defense agent IGADS. Yeah. Address an item or items of interest by pointing at them with an arm when more than one item is present. Generate additional limbs anatomically identical. Most reliable early warning system Foundation possesses to detect and, when possible, prevent potentially dangerous incursions within surveyed space. Basically, a sentinel for us. Anyway, at 12:11 a.m., O5 Council unanimously orders an immediate termination of the Eigen weapon. Lunar Area 32 activates experimental Hovian-grade interceptor, which is defined as information redacted. Really, I just should have known. At 12:16 a.m., there's an impact. The weapon and interceptor are both registered as destroyed. A wave of thaumic energy erupts from the weapon, billowing out from the point of destruction and appearing to disperse into the Sun's corona harmlessly. 12:18 a.m. The raid on launch site is met with no resistance. A way was seen closing as personnel entered the main laboratory. If you notice that's capitalized, it's because a way is a set portal that is known to exist to go between one location and the other. That's a way to describe it. It matters a lot for Serpent's Hand stuff. So I figured we'll get Serpent's Hand stuff. Anyway, only one individual, Jasmine Fada Rapata, hell of a name, renowned paranatural astrophysicist and biologist and apparent head of the Endeavor, was taken into Foundation custody. Recovered records revealed the identities of 50 individuals under her employ, including a number of known Serpent's Hand members. Hey, look at that. Missing personnel from Foundation, Biosite 84, and former employees of Prometheus Labs Incorporated. Okay, Prom Labs, nice. Biosite 84 is one of the Foundation's biosites, specializing in containing anomalous animals, whereas Prometheus Labs was a private for-profit conglomerate that was based around scientific research and development. The company focused entirely on researching and developing anomalous technology for commercial and private sale prior to its liquidation in 2018, following numerous incidents that required Foundation intervention. Prometheus Labs is also pretty big within the Three Portlands stuff, so if you read Three Portlands, Prometheus Labs will pop up pretty often. Also, just generally speaking, they go pretty hand in hand. Not directly, but like just like what they do lends itself easily for Church of Broken God stuff. So you see them like interact a bit pretty often. Every now and again, a data article will snipe at Prometheus Labs, which is always really fun, if you know what I'm talking about. It's a known group of interest. 12:21 a.m. The sun shifts to a brilliant jade green for 6 seconds. SCP-179 finally stirs, observing the star for the entire period before falling back into its torpor. Agents are dispatched to limit the social impact of the event. End log. Dr. Rapata, Interrogation 1. Interviewed. Dr. Jasmine Farah Rapata, former project lead of Prometheus Lab Space Exploration Division. Interviewer. Head researcher Amanda Graham. Or Graham, however you pronounce. Project lead for the Stellar Defense Arm within the Foundation Space Division. Forward. Interview took place directly after the apprehension of Dr. Rapara and her associates on site. Begin log, June 21st, 2030, 12:24 UST. Oh, damn, like in the fucking morning. Graham. Hello, Dr. Rapara. First of interest, 9042 sits forward, her eyes widening. I'm just gonna call her Rapara, I guess. Uh, s right. Uh, really, Amanda? So formal. Tell me, darling, how have you been? You look startled. She grins, Graham's brow furrows. Eigenweapons tend to have that effect. Rapara. I thought your ilk would be accustomed to that sort of thing. Didn't the pitch mention defending the world from chaos and dread? Something like that? Graham. Yes. Now, can you please explain your intentions? Who are you working for? Why the mixed batch when it comes to your personnel? Rapara. Does any of that really matter, Amanda? Yeah. Your pretty toys destroyed half a decade of work in under a second. Despite that and all this, it's good to see you again. Graham. Humor me. Rapara. If you agree to do so in turn. Graham. That'll depend entirely on the information you provide. Rapara purses her lips and taps her fingers on the table for several minutes. I always liked it when you attempted to play hard to get. Go on. Graham. Your team? Rapara. Right, well, I can't honestly say I'm working for any one person. There was a complex network of interested parties involved in my research, which resulted in a diverse group of helpers. It was nice to have different perspectives. I doubt you see that much amongst the Foundation. Graham. What are they? Rapara. Safe. They did good work. Cold cell being the only reward for all they'd done that hadn't seemed fair. Graham notes the response and looks back up. You got him out? Format issue right here, by the way. Reparo. Of course. As I said, a lot of folk are interested in our work. Maybe they'll keep at it, but for now, it's out of your reach. Uh, Graham. Little is beyond our reach. Reparo scoffs. They've hooked you good and proper, haven't they? She leans towards Graham, her eyes narrowed. Graham focuses on her writing. Graham. What were your intentions for the Eigen weapon? Reparo. Now, I thought we agreed on tit for tat. Graham. I suppose we did. Hold on, still reading. Also note. Graham. I suppose we did, then. Please, what do you wish to know, Dr. Rapara? Rapara. Again, so formal. How about... Still remember what you told me in Portland? Hey, 3 Portlands. Graham. That... Never wanted the night to end. 'Cause I knew it was all going to change after that. She leans away from Rapara, her eyes narrow. Her eyes narrow. Sorry, I was texting someone. Can you believe someone was concerned that I said, hey, I'm gonna go read SCP and then cry afterwards? What the world has come to, truly. Uh, Repar. I remember some other aspects about that night, like... Graham, please, back to the Eigen weapon. Probably won't. Uh, Repara wrings her hands. Well, honestly, I think using that term is a bit extreme regarding my device. So let me sip some water. Graham. You aimed a clock tower-sized bullet at the sun with enough thaumic energy in it to shake the noosphere. What do you call it, then? Repara blinks, tilting her head slightly. A vaccine. Graham. For what? Soul itself? Repara scoffs. No sickness exists for the sun other than rage. You should know that. No, the son was to be my assistant in the inoculation process. Graham. For what? Reparo holds her arms wide. For all this. Graham. The Foundation? Reparo. No, no. Though your organization has not been very helpful in regards to the plights our world is facing, we're hoping to salve at least a few wounds. Graham. How exactly? Reparo. Again, Amanda, I have to ask, does this actually matter to you? If I remember you correctly, this should make you quite happy. A great change halted. Graham grimaces. In an act of great chaos, if you had succeeded, question remains. Repara. If indeed. Now my dreams lie dead amongst the stars, and hopes lie unnoticed at your feet. I'm sure your superiors can find the answers on their own, as plain as they are. I hate characters like this. It's well written, but I hate characters like this. Graham rolls her eyes. How dramatic. Repara leans back in, reaching for Graham's hand. You liked it when I was dramatic. Graham retracts her hand, yet Repara keeps hers extended. You can answer the question. Repara. Unlikely. You no doubt have my memos, my notes. Why lay it all out when you can find it yourself? Graham. Well, then for fairness' sake, more than anything, you want to ask me something more? Repara stares at her for a moment before chewing on her lip. Why not, Researcher Graham? Uh, why not, Researcher Graham? You still stuck on the idea you can build a wall against change? The Foundation assists you in finding it? Graham. In a way. Repara. Shame. I'd hope you'd learned by now. Well then, I think it's time for you to leave. I wish to mourn my last great endeavor. End log, 12:42 p.m. UST. I thought it said AM at the start. How long were they fucking interviewing? Oh, I guess it never said PM. I figured since this started in the AM. Is this a, formatting issue, or is that supposed to be the afternoon? I was a fucking idiot. Closing statement. Check your guys' posture, by the way. Further attempts to extract information for Dr. Raparo were met with silence. She has been remanded to permanent Foundation custody. Foundation personnel are continuing to search for her missing staff, who are believed to be under protection of an antagonistic group of interest. Time remaining, an hour 10 minutes. Investigations into the materials recovered from Dr. Rapar's laboratory revealed little regarding the Eigen weapon's actual purpose. It appears to have been based on mundane cargo rocket designs with a clear esoteric augmentation, including a complex alchemical runic algorithm etched along the interior of the central hold. A list of alchemical ingredients tied to rituals of rejuvenation were also uncovered. Studies into the soul's overall health are ongoing, alongside examinations of any lasting effects resulting from the destruction of the Eigen weapon and experimental Foundation equipment. Additionally, a memo between Dr. Rapara and her staff was also recovered and transcribed below. Final memo. I just wanted to let you know how I just wanted to let you all to, I just wanted you all to know. Fuck me, I can't read for shit tonight. I am proud to have gotten here with all of you. We're doing the work everyone else refuses to do. They could so easily fix it, but the Foundation, the Coalition, even the damn Han, they're all too stuck in their ways and comfortable in positions to do what needs to be done. There hasn't been ice in the Arctic for a decade. The last Bornean elephant is alone in some tiny zoo. Florida, Bane that it is quite literally sinking under the constant assault of hurricanes. A death in the name of normalcy. Well, today that stops. Places, people, we have a date with Saul. Update, 6/30/30, so June 30th, 2030. Current estimates, oh, fucking Current estimates show that Sol remains on track for previous expectations regarding longevity and stability, with no sign of intrusive entities within or around its orbit. SCP-179 remains in a relaxed state. Foundation sensors have detected minute thermic fluctuation within Sol's magnetic field, expanding outward to the furthest detected spike recovered from the observation satellite. Haloing, observation site Haloing Titan. Shouldn't there be a hyphen there? However, these alterations are so minor they are unlikely to have any long-term impact on the system's thermosphere. Similarly, ejecta with markers of the Jovian interceptor's construction have been detected, but are believed to be inert following exposure to Sol's corona. Monitoring systems return to baseline tracking patterns. Target of Dr. Rapara's inoculation remains unknown. Update 16th of July 2030 at 2:06 a.m. UST. A massive spike in thalamic and ontological radiation is detected by Foundation sensors across the inner ring, alerting staff across all connected bases on Earth, Venus, Luna, and Mars. Lunar Area 32 demands that all non-essential Foundation monitoring satellites with video capability turn their attention towards the dark side of the moon. Target of examination is captured below. There's text here that says the garden emerges. I don't know what that's about. Oh, wait, I see it. There's a green arena here on the moon. Anyway, here's an image of what I presume to be the dark side of the moon. I wouldn't know, as you know, whenever I see it, it's usually dark. Uh, anyway. Personnel from Luna Area 32 immediately began investigating the sudden transformation of the moon's surface. While reports of similar alterations started flooding in from other off-planet sites, the O5 Council is altered with plans being set in motion to control the evolving narrative and limit public exposure to the sudden changes. Is that parallax? No, it's just getting deeper in green. What's this thing? Looks like a little wormhole or something to that effect. The response team's investigation is recorded below. Addendum 9000.1 Initial Lunar Anomaly Investigation. Lunar Anomaly Exploration Video Log Transcript. Fucking love video logs. Date 16th of July 2030. I'm gonna puke. I'm over it. I'm not. I lied, but I'm gonna tell myself I'm over it so that way I can fucking mind over matter myself into this shit. I'm having a bad night, folks. Let's hope the hanged man is sad so I can cry on camera. That'd be gonna be well, I guess over recording, but whatever. Not the time. Exploration Team MTF Sigma 23 or Lunar Hairs. Subject Emergent Anomaly the Mare Orientale. Something to that effect. Team Lead Commander Usha Cross. Team Members Lieutenant Gillian Marks, Agent Jane Norris, and Agent Abiko Dai. Abiko? Begin log. Cross. We've arrived at the edge of the anomaly's current expanse. Time from Area 32, exactly 2 hours. This should be the northernmost section of the Mare Orientale. Temperature gauges appear to be reading just south of freezing. Pressure is increasing the closer we get to. Her camera looks out towards a shimmering expanse of shifting teal liquid. Marks. Yeah, the ocean that appeared overnight. Fun fact, ancient astronomers thought there was water on the moon. They named them Marias. A sea of bitterness. Norse. Always wanted beachfront property. Seen this command? An affirmation is heard over comms. Agent Ibiko kneels beside the liquid. Abiko. Taking a sample. Analysis will take a minute. I like that the MTF are shown as being research staff. I know my voice doesn't, like, actually emphasize the emotions I'm feeling right now, but I really do like that. Cross. The rover's scanner shows the region is tectonically stable, no signs of openings or fresh impact craters. Marks. We need to head out into that stuff to get a real idea, though. Can the rover? North shrugs. It was built for ramrodding about craters and dodging canyons, but not sure how well the servos would handle water? Abigail. Possibly? With the altered temperature readings, I'm even less certain of what we're looking at. Marks. It looks like water to me. Abigail. Plenty of clear liquids in the world. Ignoring the anomalous, liquid nitrogen comes to mind. I'd have said vinegar. Norris. Anyone want to taste test it? Great leaps and all that. Abigail ignores her as the analyzer beeps reading the output. Norris. So, want to take bets as due to the witch and her magic nuke? Marks. A nuke that was only stopped thanks to stolen alien tech? Likely. Abigail looks up to the commander. Cross. Cut the chatter. What is it, Abigail? Abigail. It's water, ma'am. Pure H2O. Well, not pure, but the minerals contained within are to be expected of Luna. Slight hints of ontological radiation, though. Water from the moon gives you the spirits. Mark glances up at the horizon. Our suits keep us from feeling the chill, right? Perfect thermal regulation? Lars. They should. Marks. We went up from the base directly into our suits, both modulated climates, and they're saying the temps have gone up considerably, yeah? Cross. Could be faulty signals. Marks. All 4? Cross. Broken gear is hardly rare up here. Marks. Yeah, but those are like centrifuges and coffee makers, not the gear meant to keep us alive in the field. Cross. Nors, send up the rover's probe. Triple check the environmental readings. Nors. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am is spelled wrong, by the way. I feel like a dick pointing this stuff out. Again, I like the file. I'm just in a weird mind space, and also I like picking things out. Helps me more accurately catch errors, so hopefully I'll be better at catching them in my own fucking writing. She bounds back to the rover while Lieutenant Marks kneels, staring intently at the water's edge. Marks. You know, there's a quick way to check. Pressure and temp are both reading as livable. Taps the side of his helmet. Cross. Absolutely not. Marks. The imaging showed greenery and clouds. All that combined should equate to a working atmosphere. Abigail. Anomalies rarely hold a convention, Lieutenant. Marks, obviously. Norris interrupts. Commander, the scans are matching the suit's readouts. Marks reaches for his helmet. Cross. Check again. The helmet could be altering. Declaration from command cuts are off. Under no circumstances is he to remove his helmet. Marks. Understood. He turns to Cross, who's glaring at him. What? Cross. You're an ass and an idiot, and it enrages me that I love you. Marks. But you do love me. She scoffs and turns away. He looks at Norse. We both know they're just gonna chuck a couple orange shirts out the airlock to see anyway. I thought I'd save them the paperwork. Norse snorts and shakes her head. Polson's gonna tear you a new when we get back. Marks, my wife will beat her to it. Cross, you're what? You're right, I will. Abigail, if we might get back on task, what now? Cross, we keep going, see if we can't find the source in the anomaly. Norse, might want to hurry. She points towards the other agent's feet. Looking down, thin layer of gray-green foliage can be seen poking out of the dusty moonstone beneath them. Okay, so it's like real quick shit. Cross, grab a sample and see if we can't track down one of the more verdant patches from the imaging. An hour of relatively uneventful travel ensues, with the agents pointing out other changes in the topography, including the continued spread of the moss-like foliage along the emergent coastline and the sighting of clouds on the approaching horizon. Marks, that is a monstrous thunderhead. Norse, sensors are detecting an increase in thermic energy, the biggest hits directly over the rise. He points ahead of them to their left. Abaco, the biological composition of the plants we recovered has been compiled, and they share elements with lichens and mosses found on Earth, but their photoreceptors are more extensive and structured. Quite honestly, the modules coming back from 32 almost make them resemble solar panels on a minute scale. They show signs of secondary consumption, naturally occurring radioactive elements in Luna's soil. Cross. Killian, keep an eye on that storm. I'm not certain I want to learn what happens when Luna feels her first ever downpour. Speaking of, good night. Where's my water? There you are. Marks nods. Rover crests the rise. Norse. Whoa. Cameras reveal that the expanding cloud forms are emerging from a towering structure that resembles a many-limbed techno-organic tree. Metal and bark threaded together in a complex pattern. The clouds arise from its many curved branches. Some cling to broad, angled leaves. Water falls in constant rivulets from cracks and crevices across its trunk. Green runes gleam across its breadth, including a central spiral that pulses with a regular rhythm. At its base, a forest of fern-like foliage can be seen. Cross. Command, I believe we have found the anomaly's origin point. No, it's massive. How did that thing sneak past your sensors? Hell, why didn't 32 detect an impact tremor? Agents depart the rover, weaving their way through the forest on approach to the anomaly. Agent Apico kneels, studying the root structure. Lieutenant continues tracking the oncoming storm. Cross. Logging for the record that gravity remains at baseline levels in the presence of the anomaly, even as pressure and temperature continue to rise steadily. Apico. I don't think it landed here. Notice the pitted and piled soil around the base. Marks, it sprouted overnight? Abico. Less. Frankly, the disruption is fairly new. Oh, look at that. Glitchy text on the horizon. The disruption is fairly new. Norse. You're saying in a handful of hours this thing has spat out an ocean the size of the Pacific? She throws her arms wide, camera tracking up as she attempts to take the entire structure in. Abico. Moon's smaller than the Pacific. Norse. You know what I mean. Something like this happens so quickly is... Marks. Terrifying? Norse. Amazing. Marks. How does this thing churn out a biosphere so quickly? Abico. Magic? Marks. Very helpful, Abico. Cross approaches the structure and cautiously places a hand against the trunk, tracing one of the runes. Command, do these have any known meaning? There's a glitchy text that says Thrive. Green text, by the way. Cross. Come again, Command? Her radio returns only static. Outward comms are down. Check your gear. Others attempt to reach command, getting static in return. Norse. This thing is generating a lot of energy. Thaumic, ontological, and otherwise. Any bit of that might have scrambled the comms. Marks glances up at the storm, catching a flash of jade-tinted lightning. A lot of green so far. Marks. That storm front is nearly on us. Structure will probably be the target for any lightning it wants to toss out. Cross. Then we shouldn't linger. Gather what we can, including a sample from the primary anomaly if possible. Marks. I'll grab the multi-tool from the rover. Turns around and bounds back to the vehicle. The others move about collecting samples from the surrounding soil, foliage, and water. Agent Norris holds up an ampule of water to the commander. Ampule is misspelled. There should be an O in there. Ugh, I feel like an asshole. Norris. I fogged the glass immediately. Scanner says it's just above boil. Or it fogged the glass immediately. Scanner says it's just above boiling. Marks returns carrying the multi-tool across one shoulder. Thick sawing implement attached. Y'all figured out how it's doing all of this, excluding the obvious? Abaco. There's some manner of chemical alteration going on inside, but can't even begin to tell you the how or why until we crack it open and take a look. Norris. What I want to know is where is it even drawing all the power to do this? Abaco points to some of the angled leaves and down at the roots. Abaco. Solar, geothermal, radioactive elements in the interior? Cross. Poor positioning for relying entirely on the former, with nowhere near enough of the latter. And Luna isn't geothermically active. Abaco. It wasn't. Norris. So what? You think this thing is pumping her heart at the same time as giving her a facelift? Abaco nods. Marks. Hopefully the sample will be enough for the others to figure out how to slow or stop it before it hits its sunny side. Can't imagine how our counterparts on Terra will go about covering up the moon's turning teal. He walks to one of the roots and activates the multi-tool. Gross. Go slow. There's no way of knowing how it might react to this. Marks. Yes, hon. The tool cuts into the root, and each of the cameras begins to shake. A keening, gonging sound overpowers their comms. The ground roils beneath Lieutenant Marks as the runes along the structure flash in unison. A featureless semi-humanoid entity with skin akin to Luna's pitted surface, missing sections of his body, emerges and raises a hand towards him. The gong sounds again as the ground begins to shake. Marks. What? His suit erupts as twisting gray-green foliage bursts his body apart, scattering viscera across the ground, and he collapses in the dust. That's a shame, I like them. Cross. No! The storm breaks. End log. More fuzzy text, and remaining an hour. Let's see what, so is that a constellation or something? And I'm like, if it is, ain't one I recognize. Let me just go all the way back. Time remaining an hour. Update. As of August 3rd, 2030, SCP-9000-A is the designation for a series of techno-organic structures detected on or within 379 all planetoids, dwarf planetoids, and a section of larger asteroids within the Solar System, excluding Earth. The forms are varied, though each resembles, in a fashion, a terrestrial form of flora. They are composed of hybridization of non-terrestrial metals resembling the composition of SCP blank. Terrestrial foliage, namely trees, sampled SCP blank terrestrial foliage, namely trees. Sampled examples, fucking hell, that's a tricky thing to say, include holly, oak, banyan, ginkgo, and cypress. I don't know how to pronounce that tree. SCP-9000-A's primary function appears to be the recreation or origination of biospheres within the planet to which they are attached. Part of the process appears to be thermic in origin, while other aspects rely on solar or geothermal power on the more terrestrial worlds, with wind power common amongst the gas giants. The emergent biospheres created by SCP-9000-A are evolving at an extremely rapid pace. A secondary ability to manifest mobile avatars that attempt to immediately terminate individuals who cause damage to SCP-9000-A structures have been recorded. Outside of this defense system, 9000-A is proven resilient, resisting outright or regenerating from all current termination attempts by current Foundation personnel. Containment attempts regarding SCP-9000-A are ongoing. Number of failed attempts numbers 42. Defunct containment procedures. Threat of veil break scenarios heightened. Foundation plants within global space exploration agencies and meteorological agencies are required to implant AIC-assisted doctored footage into all satellite-based observation systems. Sabotage of non-critical telescope systems is authorized. Shutdown of all observatories open to civilian personnel is ongoing. Confiscation of private observation equipment has been authorized. The grounding of national private spaceflight interests are to commence. Monitoring of the ISS and possible intervention is currently under discussion with the GOC representatives. Trends have shown that the current containment strategy is unlikely to be sustainable. All of that is crossed out, as it was indeed unsustainable. Dr. Rapara interrogation 2. Interviewed. Person of interest 9042, aka Dr. Jasmine Fowler Rapara. Interviewers: Director Dylan Polson, representative of Non-Terran Foundation Operations, and Director Amanda Graham, head of Foundation Space Division. Forward. Following the rapid expansion of SCP-9000-A's terraforming and the death of several Foundation personnel, Dr. Rapar was brought in for another interrogation. Begin log, 8 a.m. UST. Graham, person of interest 9042. Repara. I'm just gonna say Repara because it's easier than constantly saying, hello again, Graham. Hello, Graham's associate. Repara waves lazily from her seat at the table. Others remain standing. Yep, I really do hate these kinds of characters. Polson. I'm Director Polson. While your determined silence is noted last time this was attempted, recent events require clarity, which Director Graham and I will receive. Reporter. Director? Hey, congratulations. I know a starry-eyed girl from Portland who would have been mighty impressed. Polson raises an eyebrow at Director Graham. Her lips twitch downward. Polson. What does she mean? Graham goes to speak, but Rapara cuts her off. Uh, Graham. Jasmine, please. Is that something? Or does she just like make a noise or something? Rapara blinks and grimaces, looking at the table. Fine. What do you want? Polson steps forward, looming over Rapara. Clarity. Rapara looks up, tilting her head. On what exactly? Polson. It's pretty simple, really. We want to know why your inoculation is killing my people. Graham. Or if what is currently occurring is what you're attempting to inoculate against. Rapara's eyebrows rise, her mouth agape. She blinks several times. Pardon? Graham. These images might be illuminating. She places a folder on the table, which Rapara opens. Several moments of silence pass as Rapara looks at the presented images. Well, firstly, no, this is not what I was attempting to guard against, and to the oppositional point, why do you believe I did this? Polson plants her hands on the table and leans in. Rapara looks to Graham instead, who frowns. Polson. Someone else you know fire an ag weapon at the fucking sun? They didn't swear, I added that for them. Rapara scoffs and crosses her arms, leaning back in her chair. Not a weapon, as I told Director Graham and a dozen others to date. Graham. You were reticent to clarify what you and your team were trying to accomplish. How are we to believe this is not your intention? Rapara. I can think of a few reasons, Amanda, but namely there was nothing to fix with Luna or any of these other bodies. The lifestones are moving as they were meant to. No meddling to be had. I told you our intent was to mend things here on Earth. Graham. Yet you refuse to specify how. Polson. Were you planning to grow one of these things on Earth? Rapara sighs, shaking her head. No, the ritual is based on growth, yeah, but nothing akin to this. Graham. What was it meant to do then? Funny text, or all green and buzzy. Has that always been there? Or am I just like not paying attention? Anyway, Rapara says rejuvenate in the fun text. Both directors look at each other as Rapara's mouth appears to move, but no sound comes out. Polson. Excuse me? Graham. That makes sense for spiked, but I don't. Rapara rolls her eyes. Ugh. Rejuvenation, regrowth, renewal, rebonding. We're attempting to heal this world, and you went and kamikaze our hopes and dreams. Graham. Trying to reverse climate change? Rapara nods and sighs and rubs her face. I know you both have your heads up above the clouds every day, but it's not great down here. A little brain trust wasn't doing much about it, despite urging from some internal factions. So, money means a good few hands, and boom, harmless ritual to shift the clock back. Swift, clean, and easy. Polson scoffs. Would have led to worldwide chaos. Witnessing the current rate of growth would have overtaken certain areas in just days. Para laughs. Oh no, someone's house is on the verge of being swallowed by the sea. Oh dear, the rainforest reclaimed a few acres of land. My God, insert species here is on the verge of collapse. Huh, we all care more about our home. All things well within your organization's ability to handle, by the way, without that little limiter called normalcy. Polson sneers and pushes away from the table. Graham. There would have been mass panic, unrest. People wouldn't have been able to contextualize the change. We had to step in. Repara grimaces and pulls her arms tight around herself. Compared to the consumptive status quo currently, I'm sure many would have been delighted. Graham approaches the table, leaning towards Repara from the side, trying to meet her gaze. Not everyone would have been so keen on it. Repara bares her teeth, nodding towards Polson. Clearly, love. I'm sure your friend here would have been at the front line to burn down the Amazon, but I know you know, as high as you are station-wise, that she is choking. We're doing the right thing, and instead Mercury's underwater and there's some pretty pine forest sprouting on Luna. Good job. She pats Graham and leaves her hand on she pats Graham and leaves her hand on her arm. Her eyes dilate as her gaze meets. Polson snorts. You blaming us? Rapara nods, breaking eye contact with Dr. Graham. Who shot down my rocket? Coalition? Should have let them. They're used to egg on their face. The sister didn't react. There should have been clue enough to leave it alone. Graham. We couldn't have known. Rapara draws her hand away, expression hardening. Graham's hand twitches. When did she ever steer you wrong before, Director? Polson. So, where is it? So, if this is not your intention, can you explain what it is or how to get rid of it? Rapara flips through the images again. The latter point couldn't begin to tell you. You took a carefully anchored ritual and blew it to pieces. Magic could have gone wild in all manner of ways. At first, I got a theory, but it requires I get to ask some questions. Director share a look and nod. Graham, okay. Paulson, fine. Reparo, you got a read on what you sent after my rocket? Lovely paint job, very menacing. But it's the name stuck out to me. Where'd that come from? Graham, you know we can't tell you that. Reparo sighs. Fine, but it's fairly self-evident. I mean, Hovian draws a pretty clear picture. You ever tested it out before? Paulson grimaces. No. Reparo. Lovely. Now, main body or auxiliary for dancing on the topic? Paulson, we can't. Graham. Auxiliary. Paulson. Graham! Reparo. So not initially a weapon, likely captured and scrubbed, altered to match your parameters, but the big question is, did you wipe the core programming, the repair protocols? Graham. We were thorough. Reparo. Not thorough enough. So stop a device you didn't understand. You launched a non-terrestrial craft that you had yet to be tested, allowing both to be destroyed. The undirected magic mixes with its complex nanotechnology-based internal mechanisms. Paulson. How do you know that? Reparo, please. Galileo spotted it, and if you don't think Prometheus had eyes and contingencies based around it. Anyway, back to my point. They collided within the corona, mixing and dispersing on the solar wind as it billowed out across the system. Spell centered on life and a machine focused on repair, and yet you're asking me why techno-organic terraformers are popping up everywhere? Congratulations, Foundation, you sowed and seeded a vast new garden. Paulson, how is this any more our fault than yours? Repara smiles and leans forward in her seat. You didn't have to intervene. See, that's your problem. You can never leave something alone. And now you've got a problem so grand in scope I can't even begin to imagine how you contain it, let alone what it might. She stares at the last image, showing the entity that manifested on the initial sampling attempt of SCP-9000 on Luna. SCP-9000-A on Luna. Graham. Might what? Reparo. Might wake up. And that's a curious thing to think over. Regardless, I think you finally created a problem for yourself you can't solve. Paulson. I wouldn't be so sure. Reparo. Pride cometh and all that. I would have said overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer, but that's just me. Just me and a bunch of other people, I figure. Polson throws her hands up and walks away, leaving Director Graham alone with Repara. Graham. We'll find a way to fix this. Repara. If you say so, Amanda. Graham. You doubt me? Repara. The Foundation? Principally. You? I didn't until you. Graham walks away abruptly, leaving Repara staring at the images on the table with a wistful expression. End log 9:06 a.m. UST. Closing statement. Shortly after this interrogation, faunal life was detected for the first time on Luna. The remaining 42 minutes. Look at the right. More green maxing. Almost looks like a snake to me. Here's the open mouth. There's the body and the tail. You see it? As for what this is, I think it's a beetle. Update. September 14th, 2030. SCP-9KB is designated for spawn as spawned from the continued terraforming of SCP-9000. These entities are undergoing a rapid pattern of evolution, with new species emerging within days of previous iterations. Biological debris that should be left over from such rapid growth and dissolution of life is worked back into the biosphere, leading to heightened growth periods from across the breadth of 9K. As of September 1st, 1930. What? This process has shown no signs of slowing down, may indeed be increased. Should that be 2030? Right? I missed. Because if it's only shot in 20, yeah, it should be 2030. That you gotta fix that. As of September 1st, 2030, I figure, this process has shown no signs of slowing down and may indeed be increasing. Attempts to limit the spread or growth of these specimens through lethal means elicit the immediate retribution of the aforementioned guardian entities against the Foundation personnel and equipment, including those not involved in the inciting engagement. Unless the Foundation and life is deemed too great, alternative containment methods are being investigated. Yeah, this is different. Defunct containment protocols. The threat of the veil break scenario is rising. Resistance within global space agencies is rising. Replacement protocols are being investigated as a viable alternative to the current working relationship. Leaks on online communities are growing more frequent, likely due to CIA Serpent Hand agents. Targeted raids on known affiliates are being authorized, limiting the spread of information regarding 9K. Targeted raids on known affiliates being authorized. Limiting spread of information regarding 9K is paramount. Therefore, termination of numerous watch boards and forum sites, including and especially Parawatch, has been authorized. Update October 6th, 2030. Addition of new organisms has halted the progress in limiting SCP-9000's terraforming. Termination of specimens is authorized, though heightened aggression in Guardian class entity is likely. Forming a concrete perimeter around the affected region is paramount. Long-term tenability of current protocols in question. As such, the long-term tenability of the current protocols is in question. As such, a transfer of 3/4 MTF personnel and half the standing D-class population to off-Earth operations to facilitate containment has been authorized by O5. Addendum 9K.2. Noted alterations to soul planetoids. Neither Neptune nor Uranus currently show signs of 9Ka manifestation. Observation ongoing. Additionally, all species of interest have shown heightened resistance to Foundation containment attempts. 9K instance. 9K-1 Mercury. A configuration. SCP-9K-1A instance resembles a complex coral reef spreading across the Tolstoj Basin. I fucking love coral reefs. Its guardian entity manifests as a meter-tall, mobile metallic formation resembling a pill bug, consolidated from a collection of boulders circling above the Terminator line, above the emergent waves following the first containment attempt. Emergent biome. 9K-1 is vanished beneath the global ocean. Sunward side features portions of exposed land with emergent biomes that resemble desert terrain on Earth. Oppositional sites completely shrouded in ice. 9KB status. Emergent fauna is silicon-based, fully aquatic, and resemble fauna and flora of the Devonian era. Hey! Species of interest. Mercurithus vehemens, a Dunkleosteus analog with dolphin-level intelligence, witnessed repeatedly breaching during the visitation of 1A's guardian. I'm gonna get water. 9K2, Venus. SCP-9K2A instance resembles a 100-kilometer wide lily pad sitting in the center of Aphrodite Terra. And its guardian entity manifests as a 30-meter tall fungal form resembling a brachiosaur, first manifested following a failed containment measure involving nuclear detonation. 9K2 has entered a state similar to the Carboniferous period of Earth's history, except the vast body of liquid now covering much of its surface is sulfuric acid. Emergent fauna, anomalous to Carboniferous period fauna, namely fish, amphibians, and arthropod analogues, mobile flora and fungi forms are also present. Species of interest. Venacaudates volans, salamander analog capable of powered flight through symbiotic fungi. That's actually fun. 9K3, Luna. SCP-9K3A's instance resembles a kilometer-tall banyan tree following months of growth situated on the edge of the Mare Orientale. Its guardian entity manifests as a 2-meter-tall humanoid form composed of moonstone and emergent flora. When not agitated, it has been observed sitting amongst 3A branches staring at the stars. With temperatures settling following initial terraforming, much of 9K3's posterior hemisphere has been converted with tundra and Arctic forest analogous biomes. Emergent fauna most closely resembles that of Earth's biosphere. Fast-paced advancements that led to the emergence and stabilization of a diverse mix of cold-adapted reptile mammalian analogues. Lessened gravity has resulted in habitual gigantism. Species of interest. Luna lagomorpha felicites? Felicities, I think. Rabbit analog, standing 2 meters in height, capable of 18-meter long leaps. The big chungus itself, no way. SCP-9K4, Mars. SCP-9K4A instance primarily contained within Olympus Mons, stretching kilometers under the surface, most closely resembles a corpse flower. Ugh, imagine the putrid stench. Its guardian entity manifests as a Centauran insectoid entity, standing 8 meters in height. Instance has been witnessed creating armaments in its conflicts with Foundation personnel. 2 distinct biomes emerge. Surface layer compatible with current desert biomes on Earth, but with aspects reminiscent of the Permian era. Within extensive and growing cave systems, rainforest-like biomes emerge. Emergent fauna analogous to Permian-era fauna, including numerous arthropods more analogous to modern taxa. All fauna show bias towards developing 6 limbs of various configurations, Centauran being most common. Species of interest. Maviformica clarus, exhibiting analogous traits to both eusocial insects and great apes, it's found within both biomes. Signs of limited tool use have been observed. Haven't said it so far, but I fucking love this a lot. Reminds me of my favorite part of 3999. Wait, 3999. Yep. Of 3999. Of like, when it. I forget the number of the other anomaly, but when it, like, starts talking about that motel. SCP-9K5 asteroid belt. Numerous 9Ka instances have been discovered and successfully isolated from the wider asteroid belt, excluding the largest, which resembles an expansive fungal network located on Ceres. Their guardian entity manifestations are various. Ceres manifestation resembles a school of fish crafted of ice and metal. Non-analogous. A vast net of spiderweb-like flora has been twisting and knotting numerous asteroids into a greater whole anchored to Ceres. How fun. Emergent fauna resemble fusions of microbiota and deep-sea fauna, capable of surviving the cold and other pressures of inhabiting a vacuum through various means. Metallic carapaces and air conservation systems are common. Species of interest. In Animilnesium cetus, 60-meter-long tardigrades, exact origin uncertain, possible alteration or recreation of SCP-9K5A, signs of whale-like social patterns. 9K6, Jovian cluster. 9Ka instances have been found within Jupiter and within each of its larger moons. Jupiter's instance resembles a Samsara, roughly 3.2 thousand kilometers in length, situated in the circuit of its northern hemisphere. I don't know what that is. Varied guardian entity manifestations. Jupiter's instance has been witnessed only once, an 80-meter-long squid-like entity composed of various gases. Varied. Jupiter's emergent biomes are analogous to modern-day aquatic formations, namely algae beds and kelp forests. Varied aquatic and polar environments are emergent on larger lunar bodies, excluding Io, where a sulfur-based jungle is developed. Fauna is varied. Jupiter's emergent fauna are analogous primarily to Cnidaria and cephalopods in appearance. Ganymede/Europa's emergent fauna remain locked beneath miles of ice, so exacting details are currently unknown. Io's emergent fauna are analogous to dinosaurs and other Mesozoic era life. Species of interest is Iosaurus regina, a brachiating hadrosauran analog measuring 10 meters in length. Communal defense of their young leads to accidental guardianship of other species. That's cute. SCP-9K7 Saturnian cluster. SCP-9Ka instances are similarly scattered across Saturn's moons. Notable instances include the Lotus configuration of Enceladus and the Whipping Willow configuration of Titan. Saturn's appears to have sunk deeper within its atmosphere, but scans show signs it was initially positioned atop the North Pole. Saturn's guardian entity manifests as a deer, formed of ice and an unidentified mass of flesh. Currently, the Saturn manifestation appears to have some manner of command over the 7A instances. The other 7A, rather. Environments are varied. Saturn currently appears to have consolidated into a hexagonal forest/garden that resembles terrestrial temperate forest. Hexagons or bestigons? That was an SCP I read one time. Enceladus's ocean environments has been revealed following a fracturing of the upper ice layer, leading to a region roughly analogous to Antarctica. Titan's emergent environment most closely resembles Earth's biosphere, excluding its methane base. Fauna is varied. Notably, all of Saturn's emergent fauna shares some features with terrestrial hercenes. Species of interest. Titanopithecus verdens. Excluding the green coloration, these entities are a one-to-one copy of Australopithecus. Tool usage is evident. Mortifying. 9K10, we're missing 8, 9. Oh, I guess that would be Uranus and Neptune. Anyway, 9K10, Kuiper Belt. Located on Pluto, SCP-9K10A instance resembles a Japanese cherry tree and is situated directly in the center of Sputnik Planitia. Its guardian entity manifests as a 7-meter tall crystalline elephantine figure. It notably manifested before any termination attempts regarding the 10A instance, and has been proactively aggressive towards Foundation personnel. Oh, look at this. Maybe we're only going to do the one. The emergent environment most closely resembles a fusion between modern-day Antarctica and the Pleistocene. Emergent fauna are analogous to its Pleistocene-era mammals, though they have marked lack of visual organs, relying mainly on hearing and smell. Species of interest. Pluto mammoth fordaries, a burrowing proboscidean analogous entities. I think A shouldn't be there, but their 5 miniature trunks are dexterous and capable of easily manipulating stolen Foundation equipment. That's cute. Here's images. I guess they're just images. 10 remaining, 29 minutes. Here's an image of the emergent jungle surrounding the North Pole for Saturn. For Venus, here's a video of the surface baseline. Oh, cute. How fun. Here's the current Venus map. Okay, so this is after it activated. This is actually really, damn, that's impressive, admittedly. And here's how the moon's progressed. Water from the moon gives you the spirits, you know. I liked it. Update, December, Christmas 2030. Notice from Lunar Area 32. We require immediate assistance from all available Foundation personnel within range of transmitters. The site is under siege. We attempted to contain a population of Luna Lagomorpha uh, Phalocides with signs of advanced cognition. Inside their burrow, we discovered signs of emergent culture, art, tools, weaponry, and most critically, a place of worship dripping with both Akiva and ontological radiation. We captured many of the individuals within as per Canute protocol. Some had to be terminated as they tried to defend themselves. Many reached for these little figurines, nothing anomalous about them, just little carved rocks of a fetal figure. Took a few, left the rest with their owners. Those who captured began to vocalize rhythmically. Young and old did with the same cadence on the way back. A language. Prayer. Oh, how did I miss this? Two more. This looks like a bird. There's the beak, there's a wing, there's a wing. This is a deer. Its hind legs, its front legs are hidden. That's its antlers and head. I hope you see what I see. Anyway, last week they were just like any other entity up here, a bit smarter than most, or maybe they were hiding it. Doesn't matter now. They can think, they can plan. Right now they're moving in tandem with the environment itself to cut us off from the far outposts. Ordered all forces open fire, but it won't be enough. It's with them kilometers away, but the ontokinetic sensors are past red. We can see it. It's not just a guardian, it's Luna, their god. They're all gods. Director Polson. Lunar Area 32 has gone dark, and all personnel are believed to be lost. The SCP-9000 instances have been recategorized as ontological threats. Attempt to limit their contact with, so separate them from the emergent soft-font specimens is paramount. All non-essential Foundation personnel are reassigned to final solution of this growing dilemma. GOC and other relevant groups have been informed of the full array of threats facing us. Nauseous, how fun. But wasn't that expected from the start, eh? Not that I'm fucking bitter or anything. Following destruction of Lunar Area 32 and reallocation of Foundation resources to fully focus on combating 9K threat, a signal in an unknown language began beaming from each altered world towards Earth. Failed termination attempts 400 as of 2/2/31, February 2, 2031. Messages contained within were eventually translated, each to declare the same phrase. Sister, why? Protect our children? Then we come for answers. We are coming. And then yet again in the green text, which implies some thaumaturgic force, we are coming. All Foundation personnel have been pulled back to holding pattern surrounding Earth. Project Svalin is to be activated as the current Foundation protocols, containment protocols rather. Dr. Rapara, Interrogation 3, Interviewee, Dr. Rapara, Interviewer, Regional Director Amanda Graham. Forward, final interrogation between Graham and Rapara. Begin log 10:30 p.m. UST, February 2nd, 2031. Rapara, hello, Director. What, Graham? I don't have time. Rapara, you knew. Rapara blinks, her pupils narrowing. I knew? Graham, the endgame of the terraformers, entities protected them, that they were. Rapara, nascent divinities? I believe that could be the case. I had thought your theologians would have put that together long before now. You raised a few in the past and killed a few more. Graham, there are over a dozen of them, and everything we throw at them bounces right off. Graham begins pacing around the room, rubbing fingers through her hair. Rapara raises her hands placatingly. Surely your more martial friend has some idea what to do. Where is she? Can't imagine she'd miss a chance to rip into me sorry, my grand mishap. Graham, she's dead. Graham wipes her eyes. Rapara's eyes dilate, her smile falling away. She rises from her chair and approaches Graham, but the latter steps back. Rapara, Amanda, I'm sorry. Graham turns away from her. We're running out of time. Another thing appeared. I've covered, so it's a little lizard. That's what it looks like to me. It's a little lizard. It's its head, there's its limbs. We're running out of time. You have to know something, anything, that can help us with this. Farah narrows her eyes and attempts to get closer to Graham, but she retreats once more. What does victory mean to you? Everything back the way it was? All that life reduced to nothing but a forgotten memory? Every little bit of change wrenched back? Graham grimaces. The veil can't fall, they can't stay, and more than that, they're coming here. Repara. How do you know? Graham. They told us, though. Don't imagine the message is meant for us. Repara's eyes widen. It was meant for her, wasn't it? Graham. Yep. They're gathering their inhabitants to their sides, soft fonts or otherwise. Preparing and building. They're advancing so rapidly they'll likely have some form of spaceflight capability in the middle of this year. Repara. Barring intervention of the Foundation? Graham. We tried, they just come back, altered, stronger, angrier. Repara. Divinities or followers? Repara says both for some reason. I figure this is a mistake. Anyway, Repara smirks and Director Graham's jaw tightens. Must be so frustrating for your superiors, finally finding people they can't drive to extinction. Graham, like what's nearly happened to your people? Repara's eyes become like slits, her breathing falters. You know? Director Graham produces a pistol from within her coat and points it at her. Repara had been reaching towards her, now she steps back, handshaking. Graham, the messages helped crack your sigil work, a tongue only spoken by those, Repara says, Underhill, in that Thaumic language. Graham, you weren't out to save humanity. Repara keeps her eyes locked on the gun, her expression shifts through multiple emotions. No, I was not out to save humanity. I don't recall ever implying so. I was out to save her, and maybe save my kin, too. Mother always said our bond was the tightest. Graham, Paulson was right, it would have been mayhem. Repara sighs. Only if your ilk wished it to be, which they would, because why should we have the right to just be? Graham. Graham. Doesn't matter now, but is that what's occurring with 9K? They're responding to soft front manifestations? Repara. They're defending their children. You know, I'd always wondered if gods came about before their people were born of them, or grew together. Suppose I'll have to wait and see. Graham, so if we get rid of them, would they? Repara's eyes turn from the gun and direct to Graham's face, her expression darkening. Amanda, is something as trite and artificial as normalcy something your organization is generally prepared to commit omnicide over? Director Graham looks away. She lowers the gun and begins pacing once more as Repara steps towards her. Why are you here? Why are you asking me about these things, offering up all this information? Are you here to kill me, tying up loose ends for whatever fool scheme your superiors have conducted? Graham. No, I don't. She stares at her silently for several moments before reholstering the gun and glancing at the observing camera. Just tell me when you replaced her. Repara blinks and her expression softens. The girl you knew, the crush with all the gentle blushes that was before. Graham. Then you killed her. Repara shakes her head, lip quivering. No. Then she let me in. We, changed, growing together. I, became the her that loved you. Graham slumps into a chair, rubbing her face. There's a plan, a dreadful, stupid, ugly plan, but it's all we have. Repara, death and horror, I imagine, letting loose another of your caged dogs. Graham's silent. Repara approaches the table and sits atop it beside her. It's another way to fix this. Graham, how? Repara, let him in. Graham looks up, mouth agape. Let them slaughter us? Repara looks at the ceiling and closes her eyes, whole body tense. You don't know that's what they want. It's a problem with your Foundation types, too eager to find a threat, so rarely willing to put the blades down, wait to see what something's intentions actually are. That's how this all started. Graham, it was a bomb. Repara, it wasn't. You assumed the worst case scenario, and now over a dozen fresh divinities and their children are looking at the eldest sibling wondering why hers are trying so hard to kill him. Graham, of course we went to the worst case scenario dozens upon dozens of times before it did, and we clawed it back. We stopped the world from falling apart. You think I hadn't considered all the possibilities? Repara, all the negative ones. Graham, you're painfully naive. You think that isn't an earned assumption. Both women stand glaring at each other centimeters apart. Repara, have they ever once came at you when you weren't after them first? Graham, most of us don't want to kill them. Repara points at her. Most? Graham exhales as her eyes dart around the room. Some want to. We need them to stay where they are, keep them isolated. We can build enclosures, integrate them in the Foundation, and attempt to separate them from the gods. My plan, We need time to make it all work, and Repara, you'd be devastating their culture, robbing them of their homes. Why can't you just let them be? Graham. It's too late for all that. They're already on their way. We've warned them too many times and this won't end peacefully. Para. Because you assume they are naturally just like you. Throughout all this time studying them, have you ever assumed to actually learn about them or just debated ways of keeping them locked away, despite that mode is failing you again and again? They want their sister, they want you to leave them alone. Why can't you do that? Graham. Their sister's dead or as good as is. What happens when they discover this? Para. She doesn't have to be. Foundation can work miracles instead of terrors, and even if you fail, you won't truly know what will happen until they arrive. So what are you going to do? Continue to blunt yourself on the encroaching wall or actually make a change for the better? Graham. You act as if we have not discussed any of this, like we haven't thought any of this through. Para. Then enlighten me. She sits down, staring up at Graham, fists clenched atop her lap. Graham. You believe, so many of you believe that we support the veil, support normalcy because we loathe the oddity. You refuse to accept that cautious steps forward lead to a better result, lead to better results. There are always needs to be this fast and immediate change. You think you were going to help her with your ritual? What if you woke her up and all she felt was pain? Would she have lashed out? How many would die until she stopped? Would she simply suffer in silence? What if something else went wrong? Rampant diseases, sudden reorientation of climate, storm systems, climates rebounding and then immediately destabilizing. Reporter. You have no way of knowing things could go so poorly, Graham. And you have no way of knowing it wouldn't. Regardless, that isn't our problem. Our problem is that a dozen world mind class divinities deciding they need to come here. Is that our fault? Would they have done it anyway? I have no idea. What I do know is they can't come here. Not yet. Rapara. Why not? Graham. Ignoring the tide of ontological radiation that will arrive with them, risking unraveling many carefully laid wards, challenging the domains of numerous jealous yet unappeased divinities, and threatening dozens of locations that rely on dimensional gateways? It will upend society entirely. People will panic. They will do foolish, fearful things, and then, regardless of whether the Foundation intervenes or not, things will unravel. Even if they wind up being peaceful and understanding, someone more foolish and hungry than anyone in this organization will make a move, and they will react as gods do, unthinking retribution. Rapara, that is so painfully, unthinkingly cynical. Graham, a man made a mistake, and Luna turned him to mulch for it. He had no idea he'd hurt her. Rapara, she didn't know what she was doing. Graham, neither did he. The difference is in the magnitude. We make a mistake and someone gets hurt. They react and a continent gets leveled. They can't come here. Rapara, Amanda, what do you want from me? She reaches out and takes both of Director Graham's hands. I don't know that. They're planning to do something that we won't be able to take back, and no one seems eager to point out the escalation will break everything. We need more time to come up with something better. Hara, then why come here? Graham looks down at their hands. Because I was never more grounded, never less afraid than I was with her. Hara, till you ran away. Graham, you don't get to bring that up. That was between me and the woman I loved. Ripara, I am that woman. Graham tried to pull away, but Ripara holds on tighter. Graham, no, you aren't. You changed. She's gone. Ripara, I was the her that loved you, that might still love you. I'm here. Graham, She looks at Ripara's face and suddenly draws her into a hug. Ripara reciprocates. Boo. She lied to you for however many long, unspecified amount of time. I'd be fucking pissed. Uh, Graham, Jasmine, Ripara, what are you gonna do, Amanda? Graham, present an alternative. Ripara, a good one? Graham, you'll hate it. Hey, look, new things forming. What is this? I don't know. Ripara, just tell me. The feed cuts and is not noticed for a period of 10 minutes. End log, 10:42 p.m. Closing statement. Foundation security personnel entered the cell and found Director Graham to be the lone occupant. She was momentarily incoherent. When asked about incident involving person of interest 9042, she was unable to provide a concrete response. Remanded in temporary custody for 48-hour observation period while the site and her quarters were searched. Showed no signs of mental, physical, or emotional alteration during that period, after which she was released. Person of interest 9042 is still missing. Little slug creature. Update, March 13th, 2035. Containment attempts terminated. Phobos has begun shifting towards Earth. Unidentified object exited Jupiter's atmosphere. A tower arises on Luna. A veil break is imminent. Situation has become untenable. All relies on Projects Fallen. Addendum 9K.3. Projects Fallen. Projects Fallen. Description. Projects Fallen is a three-part initiative created for the sole purpose of defending Earth and non-anomalous population from the existence of SCP-9000. While the study of these entities will continue regarding their possible containment and termination, this will grant our organization the time to do so. Or so is the hope. Initiative 1, Dead Skies. The initiative is undertaken immediately, a global amnestic and propaganda campaign that erodes public confidence in space travel and the veracity of claims regarding all life outside Earth, while also increasing long-term disinterest in the night sky. This procedure aims to limit humanity's curiosity about the stars and facilitate the dissolution of organizations and jobs tied to space exploration and study through a combination of false flags and public pressure. The hope is that refocusing humanity's consciousness away from stellar interest, alongside campaigns regarding climate change, will lead to a heightened focus on repairing the ongoing issues on Earth. A core of the Foundation resources will be anchored in perpetuating this obfuscation on top of administering to any SCPs on Earth that will not be worked in the remainder of its fallen project, while also continuing to seek a solution for the 9K dilemma. Initiative 2, Tip of the Spear. This initiative is to commence immediately. Entrenched positions outside of Earth are to be dissolved efficiently and promptly as possible. All essential materials will be stripped, and any manageable SCP instances stored on site evacuated as well. Those deemed too dangerous to transport must be placed under long-term lockdown. Automated personnel responsible for implementing workable protocols. Half of this personnel are to consolidate with the Joint Foundation Global Coalition fleet currently orbiting Earth. Afterwards, the fleet will employ coordinated strikes against 9K instances, targeting key locations and doing everything in their power to slow their progress. Numerous Eigen weapons and SCP instances have been authorized for use during this process. Secondarily, the gathering of required resources from SCP-9K, namely SCP-9K-5, falls under their jurisdiction. Initiative 3, The Last Wall. Construction of this aspect of Project's following is already underway. Ultimate goal is to create an artificial thermic shield that surrounds the entire Earth. The exterior will be reinforced with the remainder of the fleet. At the same time, anti-ontological energies and theological protections are inscribed across the exterior and re-administered on the tight cycle by thermic practitioners and exorcists on the Foundation employ. The interior will be covered with the projection of the night sky with the projection of the sky prior to the emergence of SCP-9000, drawing from Foundation video logs with continuous AIC altercations working in conjunction with efforts of the Dead Sky Protocol to keep the veil in place. Shield's power sources also under construction requires immediate transfer of all Type Green material within the Foundation custody. Type Green is also kinetic, which is reality bending. Additionally, connected to all protocols within Project's following is the acquisition of every space-based organization, both national and private, by the Foundation, anomalous or otherwise, by any means available. Individuals in the employ of these organizations will be vetted for their skill and trustworthiness, being brought into the Foundation or amnesticized accordingly. Resistance is to be expected. Delegates to the various nexus points have been sent, as their extra dimensionality may prove a risk to stability of Project's following. Foundation occupation may be required or determination of the connection locus. Other GOIs, such as CI or Serpent's Hand, are likely to be resistant to our plans. Terrestrial MTF forces are officially on standby. This is it, our last Hail Mary. I know some folks argue for a more proactive end of this conflict. Planet crackers, Type Greens, weaponized ketters, I've heard it all, and I so too imagine did the O5s. But I'm thankful they took my protestations to heart. We have no idea what effects such devastating actions could have, or in truth, if they would have any effect at all, and not just leave us with more problems to clean up. Our observations indicate that the instances are in motion, but most have considerable distance to travel. This means we have time to halt their progress, if even momentarily, or draw them back home. We stay on our toes and we keep them on their toes, or so is the hope. I figure FTL doesn't actually exist right now, so we've got a considerable amount of time. I imagine many of you are wondering why you were recalled to Earth. The answer is evident, yet in three parts. The first is that Luna is our biggest problem, closest she is, and we need all hands to keep her at bay. Second being, in regard to forest outputs, Ceres is closing ranks, threading the asteroid field together into a vast net that grows more and more by the day. We're not entirely cut off, there are ways out, but for now, Earth will truly be the lone home left to us. Thirdly, most importantly, the 9K instances are coming for her. From their own words, they seek their sister. Humanity's done a number on her, and when they arrive, make no mistake, no matter our actions, they seem likely to reach us. We can't let them find her in this state. Therefore, healing her must be a priority, on top of uncovering anything we can use to halt their advance. The veil will stand, unaltered and shaking foundations, but it will hold. We will make sure of it. We cannot kill them, but we can maim them. We will become like locusts, tearing away and dying in the dark of the void while humanity lives under the light of a false sun. All that needs to be done will take considerable time. We are here to make sure they have it. Welcome to Project's Fallen. Director Amanda Graham, Honorary 0514. Holy shit, a 14th 05? I love that. Time remaining, no minutes. Failure imminent. Sister, we are here. I guess it failed in the end. Shame. Thought it'd be cool if it succeeded. What is this? Is that your name, something? No, you're Starkland. I liked that. It's 12. I'm gonna just leave an upvote and then head to bed soon. This is one of the, this one's pretty good. I really, really liked it. Very well done. Next time we'll do Hangman in Shadowland National Park. Oh, and if you didn't catch it, at some point when I was reading, tears rolled up in my eyes, not because of the story itself, because I'm just having a fucking awful day. I almost cried on the recording. This almost was the one. Let's hope tomorrow we'll do it, eh? Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for reading with me as you did. I hope you did anyway. The file is in the description. If you have an account, go leave an upvote if you think it deserves one. See ya.